Hi guys, welcome back. Now, I've bought a new car. It's not this is my Civic. I've had this for about 10 years. I'm also not replacing the Civic, so fans of the Civic, don't worry, it's not going anywhere. Because I buy a new car about every 10 years, that's how long I've had this, 2010 or 11 I think I bought this, I thought I'd document it and do a little video for my YouTube. Now, for the last couple of years, I've kind of got a little bit of an inkling for something rear-wheel drive. Part of that came from doing a Learn to Drift experience. Had amazing fun in some rear-wheel drive Lexus IS200s. Started looking for IS200s. They're starting to go up in value. They're actually quite heavy. They're not very good on fuel, and actually until you modify them, they're just a bit of an old man's car really. And then this year I've had several drives in some friends' convertibles, which then kind of got me the bug for driving a convertible car. I've never really got the whole appeal of driving something convertible, but actually after having a go of them, it kind of started last year when I had a cater and press car for a week. Really enjoyed that, and then this year had a go in a couple of mates' convertibles, and thought I'll start looking at some convertibles. So the first car that I looked at, which I had a go in my mate's one this year, was a Porsche 718 Spider. Tom very kindly let me have a go in his. They're 80 grand, so I thought, well, I need to knock it back a little bit. So then I looked at Porsche 981 Spiders, like Captain Andy's. They're about 50 grand, and then my mate Chris let me have a drive of his SL63, I think it is. They're about 30 grand. Then I look at some Caterhams, they're 40 grand. Then I had a look at some second-hand ones, even like 10-15-year-old ones are 30 grand. Then I started looking, let's lower the budget a little bit more. I looked at some Honda S2000s. They're about 15 grand, maybe 20 for a good one. Knocked the budget back a little bit more, and I've ended up with, I'll show you. It's this, a Mazda MX5. Now, I know what you're thinking. I am a bit heavy and a bit old and a bit tall to be driving around in one of these, but actually, I think it's a bit of fun. I've really enjoyed driving it around already. I've driven it around for a couple of days, and it's brilliant. So this is actually a top spec Mazda. So it's a 1.8 6-speed box. It's the top of the range one, so it's got the LSD, it's got the front fogs, it's got the heated seats, it's got heated glass back window, it's got a mohair roof, which apparently the normal ones are a canvas roof and they split and dry out and get really stiff, and it's had loads of welding work done on it because they normally rot out pretty well, but I think it's alright. It's got the bigger wheels on it, it's got the bigger brakes on it, and actually it's in pretty good nick. Let's have a quick look inside. It's alright, isn't it? Nearly 20 years old, this. So a bit like most of my cars, they look kind of reasonable from about 20 feet away, but when you get up close, I mean, the Civic's pretty dirty at the moment, and then when you get up close you start noticing some stuff. So for example, there's some sort of you might not see it on the camera, but some sort of like rattle can spraying that's happened on the door there. The rear bumper, I think, has been rattle canned at some point as well, but overall it's not too bad. So me and my boy had a little road trip a couple of days ago up to Leicester to go and buy this. It's a bit of a trek. It's 3 hours there, about 4 hours back, because M25. But I'll be honest, I've been hunting for a little while, but I wanted something that had the 6-speed box and it had the LSD, because skids in Mexico, and actually the guys that we went and bought it from was two young lads that actually buy and sell MX5s. They're the nicest lads, really knowledgeable on MX5s, showed me all around it, showed like the kind of problem areas, showed me all the bits that it had already had done to it. The biggest folder of receipts I've ever seen for a car. However, when I got it back, drove it around for a couple of days, took a few people out, went and found some private roads and did a few clutch kicks and a few skids with it. Looking through the service history, it hasn't had a service for 20,000 miles. So I felt a little bit guilty about that. So I've bought all the bits to change the gearbox oil, the LSD oil, and give it a full service as well. The ultimate idea for this is, I mean, it's winter time, but as long as the sun's out, it's got the heated seats, drive it around, I think it'd be a bit of fun. Maybe do few more videos with it, and the end result is going to be do some mods to it, probably change the suspension, change the wheels because it is a little bit floaty, probably put a hydro in it, and go and do some drift days with it, because the wheels off of my Honda will actually go straight on this, and I've got some dried out 2013 tyres that need using up, so we're going to go up to learn to drift and go and do some clutch kicks and some skids. If the clutch holds up, if it doesn't, we'll have to put a better clutch in it. I took it down to two of my mates yesterday. In fact, my mate Sam has actually turboed his Mazda himself. We're going to do a video on that at some point. You might have seen it in my drive out meet video, which was went out a couple of days ago. So they got it up on the ramp. Him and my buddy Jack got it up, started having a poke around it. They were hoping that they were going to pick it apart and go, oh dear, I think you've bought a right old lemon here, but actually both of them said it doesn't really get much tidier than what I've bought, so I was super happy with that. You can see if you get up close, normally these are all totally rotten, and these were done quite a while ago, and they're just starting to go rotten a little bit, but we get some paint on there, get some rattle cans out again. See, it's been undersealed as well, quite high, which is a little bit, it doesn't look the best, but at least it's going to not go rusty. Wheels are a bit scabby, but we're going to change them anyway, and I've been doing a few skids in the rain, so it is a bit dirty. I've done a couple of mods already. So the first thing I noticed when I bought it is that the spring in this was actually pinged off, and every time you accelerated, the flap opened, and then when you went to go change gear, you hit elbow on it, which is really annoying. So it took this whole centre console out. Because it's 20 years old, it's a bit like Meccano, it's a bit like working on my Civic. There's literally like 4 screws and 1 bolt, I think, and this whole centre console comes out. Turn this upside down, relocated the spring, put a little cable tie around it, stop it pinging off again, and now she's springy again, which is good. Just jumping in quick. Another thing that everyone complains about is these vents, as you're going along, kind of like droopy MX5 vents apparently, and you can take them out with a special tool, take them all apart and do whatever, but actually all I did was just pull them right down, put a bit of tape along the top, push them back into place, and now they're not going anywhere. So it's a bit of a budget mod. Mega mounts, not really a mod, but super handy. Always good to have a mobile phone holder. The other little quick mod that I did was the stereo wasn't getting any radio reception. Also, when you first turned it on, the electric aerial in the back was just sitting there winding away, and apparently the gears in the mechanism go. So what I actually did was open the boot, pull the carpet back a little bit, just pull the plug off of the electric aerial to stop it going up and down, and then literally just pulled it up 1 notch just so it sits like that, so I can get me radio 2 because I am old, and that's good enough. Now I've just put the bonnet. This has actually got an inline 4, and what I didn't realise is that because it's not normally, you've got your engine that way with the gearbox on the side, because it's mounted that way, the gearbox is literally right underneath there, so there is no gear linkage. The gear stick literally is right on top of the gearbox. The other thing that I'm trying to work out is that's where the front wheels are, and that's where the engine is. Is that mid-engines? A bit like a Ferrari 812. The engine is kind of so far back. It's not like a Ferrari 812, don't get me wrong, but the same as the Ferrari 812 is the engine's in the front, but it's so far back, it's technically front mounted mid-engines, but I don't know. And someone said because the engine is so far back and the gearbox is in the middle, and you obviously got the diff at the back, it's supposed to be a near 50-50, like 52-48% weight distribution, but with a full tank of fuel, it's probably not far away. Right, while the sun's out, let's go for a quick drive. Oh, it's a bit easier than a caterum to get into. She purrs, mate, she purrs. Whoa. Skids on the gravel. So, first thing to mention, once you start driving it, the first thing I noticed when I started driving it is the seat is a little bit high. Now, quickly Googled it, everyone moans that the MX5 driving position is slightly too high. So, last night I got a bit bored, took the seat out, watched a quick YouTube tutorial on how to do it, took the seat apart and basically cut a big lump of the foam that's in the bottom of the seat, put it all back together again, and the driving position now is pretty much perfect. Sit about 2 inches lower, get a lot less wind in what's left of your hair, and yeah, it just seems to be I don't feel like I'm perched on top of it like I was. The other thing that I noticed as well was how quick the heater starts pumping out hot air. It doesn't come up to temperature really fast, and the heat come out so quickly when I first started driving it. I thought it was like had an overheating issue or something, but someone's told me, and I don't know if this is true, that the heater matrix for the internal heat is before the thermostat. So literally within about half a mile it's pumping out hot air, which obviously I've just bought it before the winter, so to be able to drop the roof, have hot air coming out as soon as you get halfway down the road, ideal. Coupled with that with the heated seats, which also heat up really fast, unless it's actually raining, I've got the roof down. I'll be honest, up to the point where it's drizzling, I've still got the roof down. I mean, I won't drive it in a hailstorm like I did with my buddy Tom's Porsche, but at the moment it's on standard suspension, and I don't know if that's helping it or not helping it, but there's quite a lot of what I call scull shake. Obviously because it's convertible, it's, I don't know, it just feels a little bit wobbly. So I don't know if I change the suspension that's going to get better or worse, but it's not bad. Someone said if you do full roll cage and effectively bolt the front to the back, then that will stop that, but I don't really want to go down that route. One of the things like the guys up at Leicester showed me is this little wind deflector bit here. So it's literally just a tiny little plastic flap, and with it down you can just feel a bit of turbulence within the car. Not terrible, but the faster you go obviously the worse it gets. At the moment I can feel just the air like on my arm. Literally just pop that up and all the air inside here just comes completely still. It's very, very clever. Obviously it's there, that's what it does, that's the whole point of it. Now if it does start pouring with rain, it's super easy. Literally pull up and stop, put those down, put your window deflector down, grab hold of that, pull it over, click, click, zoosh, away you go. You can do it while you're driving along. I don't know if that's advisable or if you're supposed to do that, but it can be done. Oh, immediately it's really hot in here. It's like putting the roof on a caterer. It's either freezing cold or it's a sweat box. Also we're doing 30 miles an hour. If you wanted to put the roof down, this is actually a one-handed job. Pop that one over, pop that one over, click. Bosh, easy. Obviously any faster than that you're going to get a bit of a parachute effect from the roof. Mega turning circle. Something I have noticed is the rear diff is a little bit rumbly, a little bit whiny. It's not terrible. You notice it more with the roof up. I guess with the roof compacted and sat over where the diff is, I don't know if that deadens the sound a little bit, or just the noise of the wind kind of like hides it a little bit. But yeah, definitely going to give it a full service. I've put some super duper diff oil to go in there, especially if we're going to go do some skids and give it some abuse and stuff. Just hit my shoulder at some point. Mainly, obviously, when I'm accelerating, it's under load. It sounds like two China plates rubbing together. Right, let's put this back down again. Most of this sunshine. Only November. Oh, mate, lovely. Right, let's give it a bit of beans. Fat bloke in a 20-year-old sports car, and that anyone that's following me along behind can see my ball patch, and anyone that's in like a SUV or a van or a truck could look down in and see my fat belly. But honestly, I don't care. It's so much fun to drive. You're just in your own little, I don't know, just in your own little world. There's just something about having the roof down in a car that is, I'll be honest, I didn't really get it. I didn't really get the whole convertible thing. until this year, and a bunch of mates have let me have a go in their convertible cars, and I've absolutely loved it. Anyway, I'm going to end the video there, guys. Thank you for watching. Hope you like what I've bought. Stay tuned for more MX5 content, mods, a few skids, that sort of stuff. And subscribe if you haven't. Give me a thumbs up, and see you on the next one. This is just brilliant. Shorts and t-shirt, nearly November. What are you doing, Rob? No, you're not coming in. Go on, off you go. No, mate, call the dog. Bless him.